Hello, YouTube. Let's talk about what I do to not die. In other words, what I do for physio, mobility, that kind of stuff, so that my body doesn't fall apart because it is very close to doing so. You can see today's going to be like a voiceover thing, some footage of me at my physio appointment, and then I'm just talking over it right now with a voiceover. It's actually not a physio. I call it physio, like a physiotherapy, but really it's more like a sports massage thing. That's like, I would say it's a more accurate description of what it is that I do to keep myself alive. The reason for this is obviously I share this a lot on Instagram and stuff whenever I go, what's going on and that kind of stuff. But people always ask me like, okay, but what is being done? Why'd you go there? What's the issue? That kind of stuff. So I figured I would make a dedicated video to talk about this. First and foremost, it's not necessarily always an issue. Like going to a physio or chiropractor or whatever only when you have problems. It's like going to the dentist only when you have your issues with teeth. Like you should be going there anyway on at least semi-regular basis to make sure things are fine, to make sure that problems don't develop, like be preventative, right, rather than reactive. So I do that for the most part, but however, I still go there because of issues, because as preventative as I try to be, there's always some kind of an issue going on with how much I train and how long I've been at it and the intensity and so on. So it's a little bit of both. Now, in most cases, I go with 2 to 3 things that are just repetitive forever. So one is training related, or two are training related, and one is not. I'm gonna start head to toe, so from the top down, and that starts with the non-training related actually, which is I always go first and foremost for my neck. That is, like, out of the hour that I'm there, almost every time, like at least half an hour spent on the neck every single time, and that's maintenance slash preventative from getting things work. My neck is already really bad. It has been due to decades of pressure and tension and build up tension, like emotional, mental, physical, all of it. And all of it goes to my traps, kind of like this whole the weight of the world on your shoulders kind of thing. And it manifests in tightening up my neck a lot. So I have to get it released. Like I do my daily mobility, I have to do that every single day, where I stretch out the muscles, like with like resistance bands and stuff, to try and, what's the word, like just to try and release some of the tension, just to fucking be able to exist. But then I also need regular, proper hard release from the sports massage therapist who manipulates all the muscles around it, the traps, the lats, the chest, all of it, just to kind of release the neck a little bit. If I don't do that, it gets worse and worse, and then I get to a point where I can't even move my neck. Like there's so much tension in it that I can't move it. I'm in a lot of pain. I can't sleep. Like it's really bad. Even at the time of me recording this voiceover, because I did it a few weeks after the physio, because this is from like last month, I have like it's been 3 weeks since I've been there and I'm feeling it. Like even now, sitting here on this chair recording this, I'm feeling the tension and the pain in my neck building up. I'm going there in a week's time. I normally don't have to wait a month, but he's just been extremely busy leading up to Christmas, so he doesn't have slots. So that's the primary focus for me. Like everything else, I can kind of work around, but this one needs to be done. Otherwise, I become pretty much unable to exist. Second thing, the training related, is usually either shoulders or back. So standard problems for almost everyone in the gym, and the back is problem for everyone in the modern world, right? We all sit on our asses all day, including myself. Outside of the gym, I just sit on my ass all the time. We hunch in because we're looking into our phones and that kind of shit. There is the back problems. They come in, you throw it out. Sometimes there's tension, that kind of stuff. So, like I said, half an hour is spent on neck, and the other half hour is spent on whatever's the more pressing concern when I'm there. Usually, like 8 times out of 10, if not more, that's the shoulders for me. I'm handling the back quite well. I'm managing to do that like very effectively, so to speak, with like all the mobility and stuff that I'm doing to make sure I don't fall apart fully. And obviously, because I train a lot, my back is quite strong, so I'm my glutes and everything else. So I'm managing that fine, but only happens every once in a while, like, once or twice per 10 visits, let's say. I have to have him focus on the back. Very, very rarely I do legs as well. I think on this day that I recorded it, he did quite a bit of legs because I was feeling quite a lot of built up tension in there. But again, I only do that like once a quarter, if that, because I don't have that much of an issue. Because I stretch my hips really well daily. It's not too bad. Also, I don't have to train my legs as much as some others, so that there's not as much tension in that. But the other 8 times out of 10 I spend on the shoulders. That's my bigger concern. It is related to the neck, actually, because again, when you tense up the traps and everything, the shoulders are connected to it. It starts pulling on them. It starts pulling on the chest, which then hunches me forward, which means I'm using more shoulders than I'm supposed to during press movements and that kind of stuff. So a lot of it is on the shoulders as well. And again, it comes down to releasing everything around it. So he needs to like release the forearms, the bicep, the tricep, the traps as before, lats, like all of it. Chest as well, that one's always really fucking painful too. All of that needs to be released, painfully so, to decrease the level of tension on the shoulders. Because again, if I don't do this, it's not as urgent as the neck. Like, it's, if I skip a month, I'm not gonna fucking nearly die. But if I ignore it for a while, it does build up, and then I become unable to do any like heavy pressing because there's just impingements and too much tension and so on. So that's something that needs to be taken care of. That one mostly needs to be scaled up during bulks, because obviously the more weight you have on me, the more fat I have on me, more tissue there is overall, which means more inflammation around the joints, which means tighter and tighter joints overall. So then it becomes a bigger problem. Now that I'm like really deep in a cut, I'm really lean, I don't have as much fat, I don't have as much tissue around it. The joints are quite free to move. So it's not as much of a problem now. Like right now, we're just doing the neck basically. But again, once I'm back in a bulk, which I think by the time this video comes out, I'm going to be about 3 weeks away from starting a bulk. So that will be a bit more difficult again. But yeah, that's just how that works. It's like brushing your teeth. You can never stop. Like the moment you stop, you fucked. Doesn't matter how many times you've brushed your teeth before, or did you sports massage before. If you stop, you're fucked. That is the nature of the current predicament. It's not too bad. Like again, these days, because I've done a lot of cutting the tissues down, I haven't trained as much this year as I normally do because of all the aforementioned stuff. All the illnesses, all the travel and stuff. So there hasn't been as much tension building up. I still need to do the neck, like I said, but everything else has been relatively okay. It's like I've had worse years than this, so I'll take it. That's how I approach my self-care in terms of taking care of the body in between abusing it at all times and giving it some tender loving care when I fucking destroy it 5 days a week. Yeah, that's how that works for me. I don't know. Again, if you have any questions on it, let me know. Like, I'm happy to recommend you some things you can do, or if you like in some places that I've lived, I can recommend some people that I know, which would be Czech Republic or London, really. But anywhere else, you're kind of on your own. Again, any questions, let me know. Otherwise, that's it. That's it for this video. I hope it was useful. If you have any suggestions on what you'd like to see next, then please do so. Have yourself a great day.